ghostly voice echoed through the mind of the skink priest.
"I am here, my Lord Tennock," he replied dutifully.
"You have done well reclaiming the lost places, but I have one additional task for you.
"Name it, and it will be done."
There is an ancient repository of lore that once stood in these lands. Within its ruins are many lost texts upon the nature of the geomantic web. I wish you to acquire them for me."
"Yes, Lord Tennock."
"But you must be aware, Mapikaju," the Slan warned. "My visions of the place have been clouded by the murk of chaos. I cannot tell what you may face there."
"We will stand strong, and Gorokoth will lead us to victory no matter what," the skink replied.
"Very good, my servant."
So we're doing a meeting engagement here, as the narrative idea behind this is that the two forces are kind of stumbling upon each other, with Michael fielding his Beastmen and I am fielding my Lizardmen. Now I'm also trying for the Slan power that gives the Slan lore master of high magic. And so my quest is, in the center of the board was a random magical mystery. And it ended up being a Nehekaran Sphinx. So whoever has the largest unit within 6 inches of that at end of game, if I have it, then I earn the Lore Master of High Magic. If not, then I don't. Further than that, we actually have, with one exception, the Sorceress Portal, we have every magical mystery on this board. Not too many of them come into play, but it was just ridiculous how many of them we were rolling for this game. But let's go ahead, pretty small units, so we'll go ahead and get into deployment. Okay, so Beastmen start with 5 Ungor Raiders. Next to that is a unit of 20 Ungor Raiders with full command, additional hand weapon, and the Mark of Corn. Then there is a conga line of 5 Chaos Hounds. Next to that is a unit of 20 Gore Herd with hand weapon and shield. They have full command and they are Mark Nurgle. And the meeting engagement rolls went pretty bad for my opponent. He ended up having his General Brejik, the Gray Shaman, his BSB, and his Minotaurs fail to arrive to participate. They'll come on as reinforcements. And even though I'm showing his deployment first, I did actually have to deploy first, so the only way he'll get first turn is if he rolls a 6. So for my deployment, I have a unit of 11 skink skirmishers. I put one into the water so I could find out that it's a raging torrent, so I don't care about the dangerous terrain because I'm aquatic, but it does give higher initiative. Next to that is a salamander with the additional crewman upgrade. Then I have my 32-man Saurus warrior block with spears. In with them is Gorokoth, my Scar veteran. He has the sacred helm of Itza, so he does impact hits and has an extra toughness. Also there is Mapikaju, my level 2 Lore of Heavens, and Kubonai, my BSB Skink Chief. And as you can see, I did not go unscathed by the meeting engagement roll as well, and my Bastiladon ends up sitting on the sidelines. So, my opponent obviously did not roll a 6, so I get first turn. And I come up pretty good. I want to get close enough to start shooting at some things. I'm really hoping that I can throw fire from this salamander and panic one of his units before he has his general or his BSB on the board. And I got the Swords Warriors just within 6 of my mission objective. And given the way Mapikaju is kind of leading this force, I'm really not playing like I care to win this game or not. Win or lose, as long as I have the largest unit within 6 of that Sphinx at the end of the game, that's what my characters are aiming for this one. So I'm playing a bit more cagey and definitely less aggressive than I usually play. So in Magic, I actually get off the Heaven spell that lowers the leadership of that gore unit of Nurgle, and I go to fire my salamander, and he misfires and eats 3 of his handlers. Sweet! Certainly not an auspicious way to start, but at least I didn't miscast, so that's a little bit of a different way to screw up for me turn 1. So we go into Beastmen turn 1. He decides to go ahead and throw those Nurgle gore unit at the salamander. I was not going to have any of that, so I fled. And he chose not to try to redirect into the skinks. And then, as you can see, their failed charge moved him up literally 1 inch. Then everything else, his conga line of Chaos Hounds comes out. He's thinking I'm going to be aggressive, so he's getting there to work on some redirecting. But I'm within 6 of that, the Sphinx now, and I have the largest unit on the board. So right now I'm winning what I care to win. So I'm not really rushing out to him. And then you see his characters come out, and they can't even reach and join up the Khorne unit. So they're hanging out behind there. The Minotaurs come up, and he sends his Ungor Raiders very aggressively down that side to try and get around my front arcs. So he has takes no magic and has no shooting. So we go to my turn. Literally, I don't do much other than move the Bastiladon up some more. I want to start shooting at small point units. Figuring, I can get them out of the way. He's going to have to bring those big units to me with the way I'm playing. So I might as well clear the way a little bit first. So that's my aim there. Then over here, I kind of take a little bit of a gamble. I move the skinks up onto the bridge. They're out of the charge arc of the Nurgle gore, and I'm going to try some shooting on them. But what I'm really trying to do here is draw out those Minotaurs. I'm hoping if he starts charging me, I can run off to this side of the board on the other side of the river, where I have absolutely screw all to do, and just keep them out of the fight, because I'm pretty scared of them. My magic doesn't really do anything, so we go into shooting, and I end up with poison shots taking 3 of the Nurgle gore unit off of that unit, so not all failing, so that makes me pretty happy. And then we go into the Beastman's turn 2. The Minotaur unit does try to charge my skinks. The skinks flee and end up here, which is exactly what I wanted to do, except for the fact that I forgot that this building here is a haunted mansion. So I run the risk of taking some hits there, but even if I take some losses, I'm really not all that concerned about it. And the Minotaurs show that, as always, they are terrible at running anywhere, fail the charge, and move ahead 2 or 3 inches. He rolled very, very badly. I don't even think he would have made it if I had stood. So other than moving his gore herd around to the side, he's not really doing anything. So we go into my turn 3. I charge the Saurus at the dogs. He stands. I charge the Bastiladon at the dogs. He fails his terror check and has to flee, which turns both of my charges into failed charges, but gets me a little bit closer to the objective, so no harm, no foul. And this picture just shows where I end up at the end of that failed charge. I rolled for crap. And you can see where his Ungor Raiders are hiding behind here. I'm actually pretty happy because I can still see them with the Bastiladon, so I can throw its laser beam at them and get rid of them. At least that's the plan. And over here, the skinks end up rallying on their own leadership, and we forgot to do it, but they will take a single wound from the Haunted Mansion this turn, but we don't remember to do it until next turn, I think, after I move them into the building. But either way, they're going to take 1 hit and whatever. And I rallied the Salamander last turn and just forgot to show it, so he moves up to here. I'm going to try and throw more fire at those Nurgle gore again. So during magic, all I managed to get off is a weak laser beam. Laser beam kills 2 of the Ungors and they panic. So they go running for the board edge. Then during shooting, I attempt to throw salamander fire at the pestigores again and miscast and eat my last handler, but I do succeed the monster reaction table, so I can pretty much keep acting normally, and now I don't care about miscasts as far as I understand it. If I'm wrong about that, please somebody correct me, but that's as far as I understand how it works. So we go into Beastman turn. He gets no charges. He fails to rally the Ungors, and they are now 1.5 inches away from the board edge after their movement this turn. And then here you see a lot of movement. He rallied last turn with his dogs, so they move up. They're trying to get in the way of the salamander. The pestigores are going across the bridge. They want to go mix it up with those skinks, I guess. His minotaurs really aren't moving much because they're kind of stuck behind his other units because of how his deployment went. And the corn gores are moving up. I'm thinking to come after my Saurus warriors. So he's got nothing else to do during the turn, so it's my turn. I move into the haunted mansion and loot it and recover 10 gold pieces. And then the rest of my movement here is just sort of moving just slightly to make sure everything's in my front wherever I need to go. My Saurus unit is huge and gets extra ranks of attacks if I get charged, so I'm not really in any hurry to rush into anything. So no real magic. I go into shooting. The salamander burps fire, finally hitting something. Kills one of the dogs and a big old number, 5 or 6 of the Nurgle gores, so finally just took 3 rounds of shooting to figure out that the fire needs to go forward, but I guess I can't really hold that against him. Then we go to the Beastman turn, and he really surprises me here. He declares a charge, but rather than hitting the Saurus, he zooms around and slams into the Bastiladon. And looking at it now, it's actually a great move, because if he can break the Bastiladon, it's not going to be stubborn. And its leadership is, I mean, it's 8 with a reroll, but he can definitely get that down to nothing. And if he overruns, he's going to clip the back end of my Saurus unit and come in on a flank. So that was super intelligent. Over here, the pestigores are getting out of the way. The dog conga line charges the salamander, and the minotaurs are moving up to support. And then, as always, being 1.5 inches from the freaking table edge, the 3 gore rally and are ready to get back into the fight. Although I don't remember if he does anything with them other than leave them there, so I don't get the points for the rest of the game. So we go into magic. He's unable to get Mantle of Gorok off on his character because that's the only spell that matters, so I'm throwing everything I got at it. So we go into combat, and those strength 3 hits, he's doing a lot and just is not landing anything. I mean, I got 2-up armor on this thing. He just can't get through anything. And I use the strength 10 hit on his BSB to put a wound on him. I killed 2 more of the gores with that, and then I thunderstomp for a bunch. So I win, but he's stubborn and not going anywhere. Then in the fight over here, Salamander eats the dogs and overruns to where they're at. And why are they running? Oh yeah, because I ate the dogs. The Nurgle Beastigores panic from the dogs being killed or broken in combat and start running off on the bridge that way. So it is my turn next. I decide I'm going to continue chasing those pestigores, mainly to get out of the way of the minotaurs. So I do charge with the salamander. He makes it out of the way. I know that looks like a weird place for that arc of visibility, but it's literally just holding the salamander up on that curved part of the bridge. Doesn't mean anything more than that. And here's where you see the Nurgle gores end up after their flee movement. So here's what we're looking at the end of movement. I don't think I did anything. I might have shimmied a little bit with the Saurus unit, but they're just a big old block of him not wanting to touch me, so I don't really got any need to go into him at the moment. So during magic, I shard Blizzard off on the Gore unit, which is just making their job much, much harder. So it turns out that the edge of the building these salamanders, or not the salamanders, the skinks are in, is just within 12 of the tip edge of that one Minotaur. So I open up on him. I'm needing 6s, I believe, and I roll out of the box. And because I only get 10 shots with the multi-shot, and I rolled 3 6s, which was enough to kill the Minotaur, one of the 3 Minotaurs. So we go into Minotaur turns, or Beastman turn, I think this is turn bottom of 5, and he decides he's going to try and charge the building, because he knows 2 Minotaurs are not going to handle those Saurus. So I stand and shoot, I inflict 1 more wound on him, and then he fails to reach the building and ends up where you see him here. Then during combat, again, 3 combats at this point of the strength 3 just not being able to get the job done against the Bastiladon. No wounds have been done. I finally get him down below stubborn. He breaks BSB and Banner die. And Brejik and 2 remaining members of the Gores turn and flee. They do escape. Then on top of 6, I charge them. They run. I don't catch, and they end up where you see them now. And smelling blood, the Saurus blocks slam into the flank of the Minotaurs. Don't really do anything else because it's not necessary, so we go into combat. The Saurus Gorokoth gets caught in a challenge with the Minotaur champion, and I don't know if I should have done that. I might have just let the Saurus fight, but either way. So I kill the Minotaur champion pretty easy. The other Minotaur breaks, flees, and ends up where he is, which is shielding the salamander. Then we go to bottom of 6, and Brejik and his 2 buddies fail to rally and run off the board. The beasts had been broken. They had been forced to wait too long, and the might of the lizard's creatures had been greater. Though Brejik once again escaped, he knew it could not be for long. He had another engagement to be at. However, before leaving, the shaman looked over the scattered battlefield. His forces were in dismay, and they only continued to fight in small bands to preserve their own lives, which were sadly cut down in seconds. As they fled, Brejik could only curse the scaled creatures. They had overrun one of his sights. But maybe not all was lost with that fact. Perhaps they would use the sights and unwittingly empower Tzeentch with their magics. Even better, maybe they would finally see the light and serve under the old fathers. Leaping over small rivers and fallen trees, the shaman found that each step was bringing more and more joy. The thought of those lizards coming to serve the ways of chaos was delightful. But this was only a thought, and the Lizardmen were ever cautious of the presence of chaos. So the Beastmen lost, but all they had to do was pay reparations, which works out well for Michael because the Beastmen have yet to gather any money for the campaign so far. So they lost 2d6 gold that they did not have. And the victory table result for the Lizardmen doubled the amount of gold that I had for the game, so I gained 20 gold pieces for this game. And I gained the Focus of Mystery, which is the high magic lore master ability for the Slann. So, all in all, it was a great game. I definitely think I played a very different style. I know Michael made several comments during the game that he was surprised that we weren't into combat by turn 2, which we usually are when I've been playing the Lizardmen previously. The one thing I definitely noticed is that 32-man brick of Saurus Warriors at this point value is hard to deal with. It is kind of Death Starring, so I think my next couple of lists I'm going to cut down the numbers of them and get more units back or something. I'm really not certain. I definitely have decided that of the dinosaurs that I've used so far, the Bastiladon is my favorite, just in terms of how well it works. I think I like the Troglodon's look better, but it's nowhere near as cool as the Bastiladon in terms of that 2-up armor save. I mean, that bad boy has done things that frankly shouldn't happen. But it's definitely been good. The Lizardmen are going well, and I'm very happy with kind of how that's proceeding. I definitely think next time I need to try and avoid having two non-damaging spells from the lore of Heavens, but there's only so much I can do to control that. Maybe I might unlock once I get one painted. I actually have an extra shaman. I may end up or skink priest, whatever you call it. I may end up getting him painted up and try and unlock a second wizard and see what happens. But all in all, it was very good. I like the salamander. It's very weird that, at least as I understand it, that once he eats all his handlers, if he succeeds that leadership check, he's cool and can just keep doing it and doesn't care about anything past that point. So if I'm wrong about that, somebody please correct me. But it was pretty awesome. Not great the miscasting, but certainly or not the miscasting, the misfiring, but certainly able to deal with it. All in all, I think the Beastmen were unhappy with this matchup. Certainly throwing a big old brick of gore into a single dinosaur and having them ultimately end up grind out and losing was not fun. But also, I don't think he was very happy with the Minotaurs. He was talking about wanting to replace them and not use them. So I guess we'll kind of see where he goes from that. He did immediately, with a secondary list, play another game against the Wood Elves, as Skip needed to recover his mage, so we'll see how that goes in the next one. But as always, thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them down below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.